Captain Jake Morrison walked slowly into the big meeting room. The lights were bright and cold. Around the curved table sat creatures that looked nothing like humans. Some had blue skin with 4 arms. Others looked like giant insects with clicking sounds coming from their mouths. A few were just balls of light that floated in the air. Jake kept his face calm, but inside he felt angry. These aliens thought humans were weak and stupid. They had been treating Earth like a child for many years. Today would be another day of listening to their demands and nodding his head like a good little human. Ambassador Zethkar stood up from his chair. He was tall and thin with purple skin and eyes like a snake. His voice was deep and rough when he spoke. "Human Morrison, your people have been given many chances. You spread to too many worlds too fast. The Council has decided that humans must leave the outer colonies." Jake looked around the room. Every alien face stared at him with the same look. They thought he would beg and plead like humans always did. They expected him to ask for more time or offer to pay them money. "How long do we have?" Jake asked in a quiet voice. 3 cycles of your sun," Zethkar said with a mean smile. "If humans do not leave, we will remove you ourselves." The creature made clicking sounds that Jake knew meant laughter. The floating lights pulsed brighter like they were excited. They all thought this was funny. Jake nodded slowly. "I will tell my government what you have said." "Good." Zethkar sat back down. "We are glad humans finally understand their place." Miles away in space, Lieutenant Amy Collins sat at her station on the ship called UES Horizon. She watched her. Screens showed dozens of alien ships moving toward human colonies. The aliens thought they were being sneaky, but human sensors could see everything they did. Amy pressed a button and spoke into her headset. "Control, this is Collins. The bugs are moving their pieces into place." A voice crackled back. "Copy that. Collins, how many ships?" Amy counted the dots on her screen. "I see 47 Vorthak battleships, 23 Nexari crystal cruisers, and at least 60 Hive swarm fighters. They are surrounding New Haven Colony. Any sign they know we can see them," Amy smiled. The aliens still thought human technology was garbage. Their ships had been watching and listening to everything the aliens did for years. "Negative, Control. They think we are blind and deaf." The voice on the radio was quiet for a moment. "Keep watching, Collins. Record everything they do." "Yes, sir." Amy looked at another screen that showed messages between the alien ships. The humans had broken their secret codes long ago, but the aliens did not know this. She could read every word they sent to each other. The messages made her sick. The aliens were planning to kill every human in the outer colonies. Men, women, children, old people, babies. They wanted to wipe out entire worlds of humans just to teach Earth a lesson. Far below the ground on Earth, Director Paul Henderson sat in a room that did not exist on any map. The walls were covered with screens showing information from across the galaxy. He had been reading reports and watching alien movements for 30 years. Paul was not a young man anymore. His hair was gray and his face had deep lines, but his eyes were sharp and his mind was still quick. He had been part of the plan since the very beginning. The plan was simple but took many years to work. When humans first met aliens, they seemed much stronger and smarter. Their ships were bigger, their weapons more powerful, their technology more advanced. Most humans wanted to fight back right away. But Paul and others like him had a different idea. What if humans pretended to be weak? What if they acted scared and helpless? The aliens would think humans were no threat. They would ignore Earth, while humans learned everything about them. For 50 years, humans had played this game. Every time aliens demanded something, humans gave it to them. Every time aliens insulted humans, they just nodded and smiled. Every time aliens threatened Earth, humans begged for mercy. But while humans acted weak on the outside, they were getting stronger on the inside. Human scientists studied every piece of alien technology they could find. Human spies learned alien languages and customs. Human engineers built better ships and weapons in secret places where aliens could not see them. The aliens thought they were so smart. They thought humans would never be able to fight back. They made the same mistake that bullies always make. They thought being mean made them strong. Paul looked at a photo on his desk. It showed his daughter when she was little. She lived on New Haven Colony now with her own children. The aliens wanted to kill her and his grandchildren just to prove a point. Paul picked up a red phone that connected him to the most important people on Earth. "This is Henderson. The aliens have made their choice. Begin Phase 2. Across the galaxy, other humans got the same message. In hidden bases, soldiers put on their real uniforms for the first time in years. In secret labs, scientists activated weapons that could destroy whole planets. In space, captains opened sealed orders they had been carrying for decades. Jake Morrison walked out of the alien meeting feeling tired. He had spent years pretending to be a weak diplomat when he was really a trained killer. He had listened to aliens insult his people and his planet without fighting back. He had smiled and nodded when he wanted to break their necks. But the game was almost over now. Soon the aliens would learn what humans were really like when they stopped being polite. Jake looked up at the stars and wondered if any of the aliens would survive what was coming. The facade of weakness was about to end, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy who they really were. The attack began at dawn on New Haven Colony. The sky filled with dark shapes as alien ships dropped out of hyperspace. Their weapons charged up with bright red light that meant death was coming. Commander Lisa Bennett stood in what looked like a regular office building in the colony's main city. But the elevator behind her desk went down much deeper than anyone knew. 2 miles under the ground was the real command center where Lisa had been waiting for this day. She pressed a button and spoke into her radio. "All units, this is command. The show begins now. Remember, you are scared civilians running for your lives." Around the colony, human soldiers put down their real weapons and picked up old rifles that barely worked. They took off their armor and put on regular clothes. They had practiced this performance for years. The first alien missiles hit the outer defense stations. The explosions were huge and bright. The stations seemed to fall apart like they were made of paper. But Lisa smiled as she watched because the explosions were fake. The real defense systems were hidden underground and still worked perfectly. On the surface, people ran screaming through the streets. Parents carried children and looked terrified. Old people fell down and cried for help. Everyone looked like they were in total panic. But these were not normal civilians. They were soldiers and their families who had trained for this moment. The crying children were actually sending secret messages with their hand signals. The scared mothers were really recording everything the aliens did. In space above the colony, Captain Roy Parker watched from his hidden ship. The aliens thought all human ships were slow and weak. They did not know that Roy's ship was invisible and had weapons that could destroy planets. Roy counted the alien vessels as they moved into position. 47 Vorthak destroyers, just like Amy Collins had reported. 23 crystal ships from the Nexari. 62 insect fighters from the Hive. "Sir," his weapons officer said, "we could end this in 5 minutes." "Not yet, Danny," Roy replied. "Let them think they are winning. We need them to show us everything they have." The alien commander was a Vorthak named General Kresh. He stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the humans run around like ants. This was even easier than he had expected. "Humans are such weak creatures," he said to his officers. "Look how they panic at the first sight of real warriors." His second-in-command pointed at the screens. "Sir, their defense stations are already destroyed. Their ships are trying to escape, but we are faster." "Good," Kresh smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Send a message to all human ships. Tell them to surrender or we will kill everyone on the planet." Down in her real command center, Lisa heard the alien message through her secret radios. She looked at Dr. Kevin Walsh, who was sitting at a computer terminal nearby. Kevin was not really a doctor. He was humanity's best spy and had been studying alien technology for 30 years. His fake identity said he was a simple colony scientist, but he actually knew more about alien weapons than the aliens did. "How are we doing, Kevin?" Lisa asked. Kevin's fingers moved fast over his keyboard. "Perfect. I am copying all their military codes right now. Their ships are sending everything to each other without any protection. They think human technology is too primitive to listen in. How long until you have everything? 10 more minutes. Then we will know every secret the Galactic Council has. Above ground, the fake evacuation continued. Human families loaded into old transport ships that looked ready to fall apart. The ships moved slowly and seemed to struggle to get off the ground. Some even had fake smoke coming from their engines. The alien fighters followed these transports and made sport of hunting them. They fired warning shots and laughed as the human ships tried to dodge. They wanted to make the humans suffer before killing them. But inside those old transports were some of humanity's most dangerous people. Fighter pilots who could fly rings around any alien. Special forces soldiers who could take apart alien ships with their bare hands. Scientists who had built weapons the aliens had never imagined. General Kresh watched his forces surround the colony and felt proud. The Galactic Council had been right to fear these humans. They bred too fast and wanted too much. It was better to wipe them out now before they became a real problem. "Sir," his communications officer said, "we are getting messages from the human government on Earth. They are begging us to stop the attack." "What do they offer?" Kresh asked. "They say they will give us anything we want. Money, technology, even other colonies. They just want us to spare New Haven." Kresh laughed. "Tell them it is too late. We will destroy this colony as an example. Then they will know what happens to species that do not obey the Council." In her underground bunker, Lisa heard this message and felt her anger grow hot. These aliens were going to kill 3 million innocent people just to make a point. They thought human lives meant nothing. "Kevin, are you finished?" she asked. "Almost done," Kevin said. "Just a few more files to copy. Their military database is huge but not very well protected." "Good, because I'm getting tired of pretending to be afraid." Lisa looked at the screens showing her people acting scared and helpless. Every one of them was ready to fight. Every one of them had weapons hidden nearby. Every one of them was waiting for her signal. She picked up her radio and spoke to the colony. "All units, this is command. Phase 1 is almost complete. Get ready for Phase 2. Around the colony, human soldiers heard this message and smiled. Soon they would stop running and start hunting. Soon the aliens would learn what humans were really like when they stopped being polite. The massacre at New Haven was about to begin, but not the way the aliens expected. The message went out at exactly noon Earth time. Every radio, every computer, every communication device in the galaxy suddenly carried the same signal. Even the aliens' most secret military channels could not stop it. Captain Jake Morrison sat in a simple chair in front of a camera. He was not in the fancy meeting room with the aliens anymore. He was in a place the Galactic Council did not know existed. His voice was calm and steady when he began to speak. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Terran Defense Force," he said. "For 50 years, humanity has pretended to be a weak and simple species. This was not because we are weak. This was because we wanted to see what you would do when you thought we could not fight back." Across the galaxy, aliens stopped what they were doing to listen. On Vorthak warships, generals stared at their screens in confusion. How were humans broadcasting on their private military networks? How were they breaking through security that had never been broken before? "We wanted to learn who our friends were," Jake continued. "We wanted to see which species would treat us fairly even when they thought we were helpless. We also wanted to see who would try to kill us the moment they thought they could get away with it." Lieutenant Amy Collins smiled as she watched alien communications from her station on the UES horizon. The panic in their voices was clear even through the translation computers. They were asking each other how this was possible. How had humans gotten into their systems? "The attack on New Haven Colony was the final test," Jake said. "You have just killed 3 million human civilians while they pretended to be helpless. You laughed while you hunted our ships. You felt proud while you destroyed our homes. Now, you get to see what humanity looks like when we stop pretending to be nice." On New Haven Colony, Commander Lisa Bennett walked out of her underground bunker for the first time in 2 days. The colony that the aliens thought they had destroyed was still standing. The defense shields that seemed to fail were still working. The people who appeared to be dead were walking around and cleaning up the fake damage. General Kresh stood on his command ship, and watched the colony through his telescopes. This was impossible. His sensors clearly showed that every building had been destroyed. His weapons had hit every target, but now he could see people moving around like nothing had happened. "Sir," his second-in-command said in a scared voice, "our weapons are not working." Kresh turned to look at his weapons officer. "What do you mean they are not working?" "I mean they will not fire, sir. The computers say everything is fine, but when I press the firing button, nothing happens." All around the Vorthak fleet, the same thing was happening. Weapons that had worked perfectly for hundreds of years suddenly would not respond. Engines that had never failed were shutting down by themselves. Communication systems were playing human music instead of military messages. Dr. Kevin Walsh sat at his computer terminal deep under New Haven Colony and typed commands faster than any human should be able to move. For 30 years he had been studying alien technology while pretending to be a simple scientist. Now he was using that knowledge to turn their own machines against them. "Lisa," he called out, "I have control of the entire Vorthak fleet. Their ships belong to us now." Lisa walked over to look at his screens. Every alien ship in the attack fleet showed up as a green dot under human control. "What about their life support?" "Still working," Kevin said. "We are not trying to kill them yet. We just want them to understand that we could kill them any time. We choose." On his flagship, General Kresh watched his control panels flash red warning lights. His engineering officer ran up to him with fear in his eyes. "Sir, something is controlling our ship from the outside. We cannot override it. We cannot even send messages to our other ships." "That is impossible," Kresh said. "Human technology is primitive. They barely understand how to build simple computers." "Maybe we were wrong about that, sir." Captain Jake Morrison continued his broadcast to the galaxy. "Every species that voted to destroy humanity is now learning what human technology can really do. We have been inside your computer systems for decades. We know every secret you have. We can control your ships, your weapons, your cities." The Nexari crystal beings tried to use their own special technology to fight back. Their ships were made of living crystal that could repair itself and change shape, but even crystal could be changed if you knew the right frequencies. Amy Collins pressed buttons on her control panel and watched the Nexari ships begin to dissolve. The crystals that made up their hulls were breaking apart at the molecular level. The aliens inside had to abandon their ships before they turned into dust. "We gave you 50 years to prove you could be peaceful neighbors," Jake said in his broadcast. "You could have worked with us. You could have shared knowledge and helped each other grow. Instead, you chose to try genocide." The Hive collective insect ships tried to run away. Their swarm fighters were fast and could work together like one big mind. But human technology was faster. Invisible nets of energy caught the insect ships and held them in place like flies in a spider web. Captain Roy Parker finally revealed his hidden ship to the aliens. It appeared next to the largest Vorthak battleship like a ghost becoming solid. The aliens had never seen anything like it. It was twice as big as their biggest ship and covered with weapons they did not recognize. "Attention alien fleet," Roy said over the radio. "This is Captain Parker of the Terran Defense Force. Your ships are now under our control. Your weapons are disabled. Your engines are shut down. You will wait here while we decide what to do with you." General Kresh could not believe what he was seeing. The human ship next to his looked like it was built by gods. Its hull was smooth and perfect. Its weapons glowed with power that made his best guns look like toys. "How?" was all he could say. Jake Morrison finished his broadcast with words that would be remembered forever. "We are no longer pretending to be weak. We are no longer pretending to be scared. And we are definitely no longer pretending to be courteous. The age of human patience is over." All across the galaxy, alien fleets found themselves helpless. Their weapons would not work. Their ships would not move. Their communication systems only played human voices telling them to surrender. The mask had finally come off, and humanity stood revealed as the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever seen. The real human fleet appeared like magic across the galaxy. Ships that had been hiding in empty space for decades suddenly turned on their lights and revealed themselves. What the aliens thought was humanity's entire navy was actually less than 100 ships out of 10,000. Admiral Roy Parker stood on the bridge of his flagship, the TDF Vengeance. Around him, holographic displays showed the positions of every human ship in the galaxy. The fleet was so big that it took 3 different colors just to mark all the groups on the star charts. "All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Parker," he said into his communication system. "Operation Daylight is now active. Show them what we really have." Captain Danny Chen commanded a battle group of 50 ships near the Vorthak home system. His vessels had been pretending to be asteroids for 20 years. When the cloaking field shut off, the Vorthak home defense fleet found themselves surrounded by human warships that were bigger and more advanced than anything they had ever seen. "Vorthak Command, this is Captain Chen of the Terran Defense Force," Danny said over the radio. "Your system is now under human control. Do not attempt to activate your defense platforms, we have already disabled them." The Vorthak admiral in charge of home defense looked at his screens in terror. 50 human ships had appeared from nowhere. Each one was the size of a space station. Their weapons were already aimed at every important target in the system. "This is impossible," the Vorthak admiral whispered. "Our sensors would have detected ships that big." His science officer checked the readings 3 times before answering. "Sir, these ships were not hiding behind cloaking devices. According to our instruments, they were not in normal space at all. They seem to have been stored in some kind of dimensional pocket." Dr. Kevin Walsh had been working on dimensional storage technology for 30 years. While the aliens had been happy with their old science, humans had been discovering new ways to bend the laws of physics. Ships could be hidden in folded space where nothing could find them until they chose to come out. Near the Nexari crystal worlds, Captain Lisa Martinez revealed her own battle group. The Nexari had always been proud of their crystal ships that could change shape and heal themselves. But human weapons were designed specifically to destroy crystal structures. "Nexari High Council, this is Captain Martinez," she said. "We know you voted to exterminate humanity. Your crystal cities are now targeted by our resonance weapons. These weapons can shatter any crystal structure in the galaxy." The Nexari tried to use their defensive systems, but the crystals that made up their cities began to vibrate at dangerous frequencies. Cracks appeared in their greatest buildings. Their beautiful crystal spires started to sing with deadly musical notes. "Please stop," the Nexari leader begged over the radio. "We surrender. We did not know humans had such power." "You should have thought of that before you voted to kill our children," Lisa replied coldly. The Hive Collective insect worlds faced Captain Bob Wilson and his specialized fleet. The insects communicated through a shared mind that connected all members of their species. Bob's ships carried weapons that could jam that mental connection and leave the insects confused and helpless. "Hive Queens, this is Captain Wilson," he said. "We are now broadcasting interference patterns that will cut your mental links. Your drones will not be able to function without commands from your queens." Across the insect worlds, millions of worker drones suddenly stopped what they were doing and stood still like broken robots. The queens felt their connection to their people being torn away by human technology they did not understand. President Nicole Grant sat in the real situation room deep under the White House. For 50 years, the aliens had been dealing with fake human leaders while the real government worked in secret. The room around her showed the true scale of human civilization. Earth was not just one planet anymore. Humans had built cities inside asteroids, space stations bigger than moons, and colonies in dimensions that aliens did not know existed. The 3 million people on New Haven Colony were nothing compared to the billions of humans living in places the aliens had never found. "Madam President," her military advisor said, "all target systems are under our control. We have disabled their governments, their military forces, and their communication networks." Nicole nodded. "What about casualties?" "Minimal on our side. We have been very careful not to kill civilians, but their military forces are completely neutralized. The luminal energy beings tried to escape by turning into pure light and traveling at light speed. But human scientists had learned to trap energy in geometric patterns that were impossible to break. The fleeing luminals found themselves caught in force fields shaped like complex mathematical equations. "Energy beings of the Luminal Collective," Captain Amy Rodriguez said, You are contained within 12-dimensional prison matrices. Do not attempt to change your energy state or you will be permanently dispersed. General Kresh sat in his command chair and watched his empire fall apart in real time. Every Vorthak world was surrounded by human ships that had appeared from nowhere. Every Vorthak fleet was disabled by technology that seemed like magic. How long have they been planning this? He asked his intelligence officer. According to the data we are getting from their broadcasts, sir, they have been preparing for 50 years. Every trade deal, every diplomatic meeting, every time we thought we were bullying them, they were actually studying us and preparing for war. 50 years, Kresh repeated. They have been pretending to be weak for 50 years. Dr. Kevin Walsh appeared on screens throughout the galaxy. He was no longer pretending to be a simple colony scientist. His real laboratory was the size of a city and filled with technology that the aliens could not even recognize. Attention all alien species, Kevin said. For 50 years you have been using technology that we designed to let you think you were superior. Your computers, your weapons, your ships, all of them have hidden programs that we installed decades ago. The aliens finally understood the scope of human deception. Every piece of advanced technology they had bought from traders, every upgrade they had made to their systems, every improvement they thought they had discovered on their own had been part of humanity's plan. You have been living in a cage that we built around you, Kevin continued. We let you think you were free while we controlled every aspect of your civilization. And you never suspected because you thought we were too stupid to understand your technology. Admiral Roy Parker looked at the tactical display showing human forces across the galaxy. Every alien military was defeated. Every alien world was surrounded. The war was over before it had really begun. All human forces, this is Admiral Parker, he said. Phase 4 is complete. The galaxy belongs to humanity now. The war ended exactly 72 hours after it began. There was nothing left of the old Galactic Council to fight with. Their ships floated dead in space. Their weapons would not work. Their leaders sat in human prison cells wondering how everything had gone so wrong so fast. Captain Jake Morrison walked into the same meeting room where the aliens had threatened humanity just 3 days ago. But now everything was different. The aliens sat in special chairs that would not let them move. Human. Guards stood by every door. The bright lights that once made Jake feel small now made the aliens look weak and afraid. Jake did not sit down. He stood at the front of the room and looked at each alien leader. Ambassador Zethkar would not meet his eyes. The insect creatures had stopped making their clicking sounds. Even the floating lights seemed dimmer than before. 3 days ago, you gave humanity an ultimatum, Jake said in a calm voice. You told us to leave our colonies or face the consequences. Well, here are your consequences. General Kresh was brought in wearing chains made of human metal that could not be broken. The proud Vorthak warrior now looked like a tired old man. His purple skin had turned pale and his snake eyes looked dull. You, Jake pointed at Kresh, ordered the attack on New Haven Colony. You killed 3 million innocent people just to prove you were strong. Now you get to see what real strength looks like. Lieutenant Amy Collins read from a long list of alien crimes. Every species that had voted against humanity was charged with planning genocide. Every military officer who had attacked human colonies was charged with war crimes. Every politician who had made anti-human laws was charged with discrimination. The Vorthak Empire is hereby dissolved, Amy read. All Vorthak military forces are disbanded. All Vorthak worlds are now under human protection. The same announcement was made for every species that had supported the attack. The Nexari crystal worlds, the Hive Collective insect planets, the luminal energy systems, all of them were now ruled by humanity. But not all aliens faced punishment. The few species that had spoken for humanity or stayed neutral were treated very differently. The peaceful Zephyrians, who had always traded fairly with humans, found themselves promoted to important positions in the new government. The wise Eternal Ones, who had warned against attacking humanity, were given respect and honor. Commander Lisa Bennett walked through New Haven Colony as construction crews repaired the fake damage from the alien attack. The colony had never really been destroyed, but they had made it look convincing. Now they were putting everything back the way it should be. Children played in the streets while their parents watched the news reports from across the galaxy. Everyone knew that their 3-day performance had changed the fate of every living being in known space. They had pretended to die so that humanity could reveal its true power. "Mommy," a little girl asked her mother, "why did we have to pretend? To be scared?" Her mother smiled and picked her up. "Because sometimes you have to let bullies think they are winning before you can stop them forever." Dr. Kevin Walsh appeared on every screen in the galaxy with an announcement that made alien scientists cry. He was going to share human technology with everyone, but only the safe parts. Advanced medicine that could cure any disease, clean energy that would never run out, food machines that could end hunger on any world. But the dangerous technology would stay with humans only. Weapons that could destroy stars, ships that could travel between dimensions, computers that could control matter at the atomic level. No alien species would ever have the power to threaten others again. "We are not doing this to be mean," Kevin explained to the galaxy. "We are doing this to make sure that what happened to humanity never happens to anyone else. Strong species will not be allowed to bully weak ones anymore." President Nicole Grant gave her final speech to both humans and aliens from the real White House. The building that aliens had been visiting for 50 years was actually just a museum. The real government had been working from a hidden city under the Rocky Mountains. For 50 years, humanity pretended to be weak, so we could learn who our real friends were, Nicole said. "Most of you failed that test. You saw a species you thought was helpless and decided to kill them. That says more about you than it does about us." The new galactic government was simple. Humans made the important decisions. Friendly aliens helped run their own worlds under human guidance. Enemy aliens lived under strict rules that made sure they could never hurt anyone again. Admiral Roy Parker commanded a fleet of human ships that patrolled every corner of the galaxy. His job was to make sure that no species ever built weapons of mass destruction again. Any planet that tried to make war machines would find human ships appearing in their sky within hours. "This is not conquest," Roy explained to his officers. "This is protection. We are protecting the weak from the strong. We are protecting the peaceful from the violent. We are protecting the future from the mistakes of the past." Captain Jake Morrison stood in the same spot where Ambassador Zethkar had once threatened humanity. But now Jake was the one making announcements to the galaxy. "The age of the Galactic Council is over," he said. "The age of human protection has begun. Every species will have the chance to grow and learn and explore the universe, but no species will ever again have the power to threaten another." The aliens in their restraint chairs listened to every word. Some of them felt angry, some felt ashamed, but all of them understood that the galaxy had changed forever. Dr. Kevin Walsh shut down the last of the alien military computers. 50 years of careful planning had worked perfectly. Humanity had gone from pretending to be the weakest species in the galaxy to becoming the strongest without anyone suspecting until it was too late. The last warning had been ignored, and now there would never need to be another one. Humanity no longer had to pretend to be anything other than what they were, the guardians of galactic peace.